do is we're going to do 8-2 the second day. All right. So again, we're applying properties of positive and negative exponents. If you remember from yesterday when we had problems like this, what did we do with the exponents? That's correct. We subtracted them. And so this ended up being 6 or 6 to the first, right? We got -2 in parentheses to the 5th power, correct, because 8 minus 3 is 5, right? This next one, what did we do first? We added, that's right. So it's 4 to the 8th over 4 to the 4th, and then we subtracted and got 4 to the 4th. That's right. Now this one caused some problems for students. My advice to you is when you're doing your assignment, you might want to grab a book from the back of the room, have that in front of you, use your iPad for your notes, and then have your homework on your paper. Otherwise, what's happening is you're going back and forth between your book and your notes on your iPad, and it's getting confusing for some of you. So that's another option. The book for the actual assignment, your notes is on your iPad, and then you can use your paper for your homework. Yeah.
For one of the problems, they had like the 1 had the exponent instead of the other number.
Yeah, the 1 can have an exponent, but if it's just a 1, it doesn't do anything because 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, it's still 1. So it would just be 1. Does that make sense? Okay, and let me look at that, and we can take a look at that. On this one, I put this over 1, and then when I bring it across, 1 times y to the 12th is y to the 12th. So I got y to the 12th over y to the 9th. So bring those together, the numerators and the denominators, because 1 times anything is itself. And then I subtract and I get y to the 3rd. Okay, so those are some things that we did yesterday. You'll notice on this problem, remember we rewrote it. So I had r over s, and remember I put a little belt around the s, so it looked, it didn't look like a 2 to the 5th. And then what did we do with the exponents? That's right, we distributed it. So it was r to the 5th over s to the 5th. And then this problem, remember, we rewrote it. Remember when we did fractions, we're going to use the lines of our paper. I like the negative to be in the 4. Is the negative in both of the numbers? Why not? Because, right, there's only one negative, and if you put one in the numerator and the denominator, it makes the number positive. That's right. So all of this is to the 3rd. So 4 ends up being negative, and then it'd be to the 3rd. And you could even go further. So this ends up being negative 64 over 27. Some students are having problems reducing their fractions. If you can't see it, go ahead and use your calculator and use the fraction key on your calculator. Okay, that'll help you if you can't get it. All right, so today is day 2. Sometimes our problems look like this. In your book, the problem's actually going to look like this. Okay, and remember yesterday we talked about our z, that I put a little belt on it because it helps, otherwise it looks kind of like a 2. And my 2 is kind of a little curly on the end, so it looks more like a 2. Right? Now, if you remember the steps from yesterday, the first thing we're going to do is distribute, right? Distribute that exponent. So I end up with 7 to the 2nd, y to the 6th, z to the 2nd over y to the 2nd. You want to make sure that your bases are large and your exponents are small and to the right. Okay. So I went ahead and I distributed or multiplied them. And then we try to reorder if we can. Now you're going to notice with this, there's no purpose to reordering, and you're going to see reordering later on today. So we're going to skip that step, and then we're going to take a look. I'm going to see if I can add. I don't add because I don't have any common variables in the numerator. So I'm going to go to the next step, which is subtracting, right? I'm going to leave 7 squared, and you'll notice that there's a y in the numerator and the denominator. Okay, how many more are in the numerator. There's 4. So I'm going to leave that in the numerator and go y to the 4. And I'm going to leave my z as z squared. Notice that I got rid of my fraction bar. Okay, I don't need it because there's nothing in the denominator. Right? And then the last step is to simplify. So I get 49, which is 7 squared, y to the 4th, z squared, and I'm done. Questions? Remember yesterday when we used fractions, that fraction bar is on the line. The numerator's in one space, the denominator's in another space. And if you go on to the next one, leave a line and skip it. Otherwise, your numerators and denominators are right on top of each other, and it gets confusing. All right, let's move on. This one looks super scary, but it's not, okay? I'm going to rewrite it as 2s to the 4th over t times 2t over s, and that whole thing is cubed. When we do fractions, we're going to work across. We're not going to move up and down. Just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to distribute. In the first fraction, is there anything to distribute? No. So I'm going to leave it as 2s to the 4th over t times, is there anything to distribute in the second fraction? Yes. So I'm going to make it 2 to the 3rd, t to the 3rd over s to the 3rd. Okay, so I distributed. The next step is to reorder, all right? And I like my numbers first, and then my letters I like in alphabetical order, all right? So this is going to be 2 times 2 to the 3rd. Notice I have fractions, so I'm bringing my numerators together. S comes before t, so it's s to the 4th t cubed, and that's all over s cubed t. And I'm going to put s first because s comes before t in the alphabet. Questions? Okay. Now I'm going to add my exponents if I can. So I've got 2 to the 4th. Any s's I can add? Nope. T's? Nope. S cubed t. And now I would draw a line across or leave a space so that your fractions aren't on top of each other, because you notice I ran out of room. Right? Now I'm going to subtract my fractions if I can. So I'm going to leave 2 to the 4th. Right? Look at my s's. Do I have more in the numerator or the denominator? The numerator, how many more? 1. So I'm going to go s. Take a look at your t. Are there more in the numerator or the denominator? Numerator, how many more? 2. Do I have anything in the denominator? No, so I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to have a denominator, right? And then I go to simplify. So 2 to the 4th. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is times 2 is 16. So I get 16s t to the 2nd, and I'm done. And you can notice how the beginning problem was really icky, wasn't it? And when we got done, not so bad. That's common. So follow the steps we went through. We're going to distribute, and then reorder, and then add, then subtract, and then simplify. And I want you to follow that order. One thing at a time. Don't add several steps. Questions so far? All right, let's go to the next one then. Again, this looks super scary. It's not so bad. I got 6m cubed n squared over 3m to the 5th n, and then I've got my exponent. Okay. First step is to distribute. So I get 6 to the m to the n to the over 3 to the m to the n to the. Very nice. Questions? All right, the next step is to, well, reorder. Is there anything to reorder? No, there isn't. Then I'm going to add. Do I need to add? No. So now I'm going to go to subtract, all right? I'm going to leave my 6 cubed, and I'm going to leave my 3 cubed. Why can't I add or subtract those exponents? That does not have the same base, so I'm going to leave them. Okay. Now let's look at your m's. Are there more in the numerator or the denominator? Denominator, how many more? 6. So it's going to be m to the 6th. That's something new for us. Right? Look at the n's. Are there more in the numerator or the denominator? Numerator, how many more? 3. So I'm going to go n to the 3rd. Okay, now it's going to tell us to simplify, all right? So I'm going to take my calculator, and I'm going to go 6 to the 3rd, and I get 216 n to the 3rd, and then 3 to the 3rd is 27 m to the 6th. Now, a lot of students are going to leave that because, ooh, 216, so scary. Well, you're lucky you have a calculator. And so you can take 216 and you can use your fraction key and reduce it. And what do we get? We get 8. Yeah. So this is going to end up being, where do I put the 8? In the numerator or the denominator? Numerator, because 216 is larger than 27, isn't it? So I'm going to go 8 n to the 3rd over m to the 6th. And look at how nice and neat that is. It's really not that bad at the end. Questions? All right, let's take a look at this last one now. I have 4a over b squared times parentheses 2a squared b cubed over a, and all of that is to the 4th. Okay. All right, I am going to give you a minute, and I am going to have you try this by yourself. And then we're going to get back together, and I'm going to see if you're right, right? So I'm not going to help you. I'm going to see if you can do it by yourself. And then we'll get back together and see how you did. All right, let's take a look at this now. The first step is to distribute. Do I distribute anything on the first fraction? No, I don't. I'm going to leave it alone. So 4a b squared. Is there anything to distribute on the second fraction? Yes. So I'm going to go 2 to the 4th, a to the b to the over a to the 4th. Excellent. Right? So I'm done with my distribute. And now I'm going to reorder. All right? And this is where I saw some of you were having difficulty. You didn't do this step. It's so much easier when you do. So 4 times 2 to the 4th. And then a to the 8th, b to the 12th, over, which comes first? A to the b to the 2nd. You okay? That step is really important, and a lot of students don't like to do it because it takes work. It's a lot easier to combine things when you have them in the right order. All right. So I reordered. Now can I add my exponents? Yep. I got some that I can do. So I'm going to leave it 4 times 2 to the 4th. A to the 9th. That I can add. B to the 12th over A to the 4th, B to the 2nd. We okay? Yes? Okay. Done adding. Now we can subtract. All right. So I'm going to leave my numbers still. Right. Let's look at my numerator. Do I have more A's in the numerator or denominator? Numerator, how many more? 5. So it's going to be A to the 5th. Okay. B's, numerator or denominator, more. More than numerator, how many more? 10. So do I need my fraction bar? I do not need it because I have nothing down there. So I'm going to get rid of it. All right. Now I'm going to simplify. All right. I got 4 times, what's 2 to the 4th? 16. A to the 5th, B to the 10th, and I can also multiply. 4 times 16 is 64. Good. A to the 5th, B to the 10th. Good. How many got that right? Excellent. Right? And if you didn't, that's okay. Do you see what you did wrong? Yeah. From where? I would like you to do 2 to the 4th first. Because if you get it wrong, what did you do wrong? Did you go 2 times 8? Is that what you did wrong? Or did you go, 4 times 2 and then took it to the 4th power? It's nice to see that 16 and then multiply it through. We okay? All right. Your assignment for today is from the same page as yesterday. It is page 498. I'm going to have you do 29 to 37 and then 41 to 45. If you didn't finish yesterday's, make sure you get that done and check your answers. My book is open up front here. Make sure you check them and make sure they're right. I got kids that are saying, yup, I checked them. And when I look a little closer, they're wrong. Right? Don't do that because that's not how you learn best. Right? And then I'm going to get the book out and we're going to look at a few.